Okay, I want to bring in Claudia Sahm, a former Fed economist and current senior fellow at the Jain Family Institute. Claudia, just how do you say your last name? I want to make sure I'm getting it correct.
Sahm, thank you.
Sahm. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Glad to have you here today of all days, because I know it was a year ago today that you were on Capitol Hill briefing House Democrats on the need to go big on economic stimulus. Can you take us back to that meeting and what was said a year ago today?
Right. It's hard to imagine how far we have come since March 11th, 2020. It was a really important time. We were understanding that the pandemic was here, it was real, and the economy was going to go into free fall to keep us safe. And so Jason Furman and I had the opportunity to speak at the House Democrats breakfast, and we both firmly said, you have to go big and broad and fast. And within a few weeks, they did. It was absolutely amazing to see that response. This was the response we needed in 2009, and they delivered. And they have continued to, and we saw a historic relief package that is going to pass this afternoon or be signed into law. And this is so what we need.
What would you tell lawmakers if that meeting were taking place today after the package, this economic relief package, has been passed? What would you say today?
Stay the course. And this was something that I said March 11th of last year. You have to go big, but you cannot walk away. What we are seeing right now is what we needed to see in 2012 and 2013 when Congress said, you guys can go it alone. They even threw it in reverse. That was so painful. It took the recovery so long. And that's what this package is. It's saying we are going to keep fighting and we're going to give you money. Like, that's what people need to get back on track.
Has the outlook among Democrats overall fundamentally changed from March of last year to today, or their appetite for going big? I mean, or what's the big takeaway? Because I have to think $1.9 trillion, is certainly going big. So what changed within this past year for Democrats, other than the fact that now they have their own in the White House?
Right. The big change is going broad. So as soon as I finished speaking to the Democrats and was pushing for the stimulus checks and to go to everybody except the highest income, Speaker Pelosi stood up and addressed the whole group and said, I am not for the stimulus checks. She wanted, and I agree with this, we have got to get aid to those hardest hit. And yet, within a few weeks, and I am so amazed at her leadership, and it was so needed that the Democrats opened their mind, they changed their course, and they did it all. Right. So, and this really proved to be so smart. We had over half of US households lose income from jobs last year. That is unbearable for many families. And those checks have really helped. And we needed that, and we needed everything else they did. And there's no way to go broad without going big. And it's a risk, but it is absolutely a risk we need to take. And they are.
I know that you've pushed hard for things like the child tax credit. What's the Democratic plan to make that permanent going forward?
Right. I think what we've seen throughout this package is a real shift in thinking that cash transfers, no strings attached, no real income requirements except for the highest income. And with the child transfers, this is a sea change from telling parents you have got to work to get money to help your kids. I firmly believe in the culture of work in this country. I also believe that families need to be able to feed their kids. And so I think we're seeing policy that is empowering families to do what is best for them instead of policymakers and wonks like me trying to figure out what's best for them from afar.
All right. Well,
I think they should
yeah.
be permanent. So.
Right. I figured you would say that. All right. Claudia Sahm, former Fed economist and current senior fellow at the Jain Family Institute. Thanks for being with us.